I've created a content type. To use it, I need to connect it to a library. So I'm going to go back to Team Landon San Francisco and create a new library. Here we are. Add an app. That's the short way there. Document library. And this is going to be finance documents. So I'm going to call it FinDocs. Remember that I can modify this afterwards, but I'm entering a URL as well. I'd like it to be nice and short. And here's FinDocs. Let's go to Library, Library Settings. Let's clean up the name first. Just takes a hot second. No time at all. Finance and Budget Documents. Display it on the Quick Launch. Sure, that's a long name to put on the Quick Launch. Let's just say Budget Documents. And then in our description, Finance and Budget Documents. Also in my settings is where I can change to my content type. You will not see a thing about content type here. Look as much as you wish. Here's how we get to content type. I need to go into my advanced settings, and the very first option is, do I allow management of content types in this document library? Yes. That's it. It's the only thing I need to change. Scroll to the bottom, click OK. When I come back, bingo, content types right here in the center of the page. So right now, the only content type allowed in this library is visible on the new button, and it is the document content type that formed the basis of the content type that we created. I'm going to add from the existing site content types. Where in the world did we put it? Well, it's a custom content type. Land and budget document. Add this. Click OK. Now I have two possible types of documents that I can create. Documents and land and budget documents. Let's go back to budget documents, our new library, just for a hot second. Because notice if I go to Files, New Document, Land and Budget Document. But if I just click the New button, I get the default document right here. All right, let's go back to our library settings then. Let's fix this. I can have different content types in the library if I wish, but in this library I really want to make sure that the land and budget document is first. So I'm going to change the button order and make this first. If I don't want to show documents at all, I can just turn it off. And when I do that, the only kind of document I'll be allowed to create is a land and budget document. But I will leave them both for now. That's not going to be bothering me much. Now when I go to File New, or just click the New button, the first thing I'll get is a land and budget document. Let's create a new land and budget document. Here we are in Word Online. That's pretty slick. I'm going to enter some info. Go back to Team Landon SF. There's my document. Now this is a little bit messy because if I go back to open this document, it says Word Online ran into a problem. Can you open it in Word? And I'm going to show you what the problem is. If I'm using a template like this, it's actually better in this library if I'm opening it directly into Word. And the reason is that when I create a new document, and it's a land and budget document, I'm creating it in Word Online because that's the default for this library. The problem is that even before I can save it into Microsoft Word, it's being saved, and it's being saved in a checked out state because it doesn't have any metadata. So there are a couple of changes that we're going to need to make so that we don't see this error right here. Let me show you what they are. First, I'm going to simply delete this document because I don't need it any longer. And now let's go back to our settings. Let's go to Library, Library Settings, and we're going to fix how this document opens. Whether the document opens in the browser or opens in Word where we desperately need it to so that we can provide metadata, or it opens based on whatever settings are on the server, is an advanced setting. The same place that we allowed management of content types. Check it out. Opening documents in the browser. Much as I love that, in this case, in this particular library, and notice these are settings for the library, not for the site collection, I'm going to say that when we open documents that could be browser enabled, that could open in Excel Online, Word Online, and PowerPoint Online, I would like them to open in the client application. Now you might say, well, we're not really opening them, we're creating new ones, but that's not how Word Online works. How Word Online works is it's actually creating that document and saving it before I can open it in the client application. That looks good to me. There might be other solutions, but this is going to be a solution. Let's go back to budget documents now and see how this works. If I go to Files and create a new land and budget document, oh, and by the way, because we're managing content types, I only have the types that I allow, so I'm not allowed to create a spreadsheet or anything else here right now. I'm going to create a land and budget document, and note, no Word Online. We're going straight to Microsoft Word. And I could enter some sample budget data, but the important thing is right here, here's my required metadata. So I need to choose a document scope, and let's say that this is a customer event. I need to select or enter a year, and let's do 2015 so we can see that it will allow us to do that. The owner is currently unavailable, and the reason is that the document owner gets created at the time that we save this particular document. Let's see if that last piece is going to work for us then. So this is going to FinDocs. That's where it came from. Sample budget data. It just took my text from the start. And let's see if it will let us save this. Well, we know what property is missing. Owner. Once I've tried to save it, though, it will actually let me enter someone. And I even have a people picker to choose from. If I go, for example, to Active Directory, or to SharePoint groups, or to all users in the system, I can find folks. Or I can just start to enter my own name and just do a check here. Cool, I'm the owner. Now, retry the save. Everything should be fine. If that owner piece bothers you and you would like to be able to simply fill that in later, one of our no-code options would be to simply make that an optional field if we wished. Or we'll have to instruct users that they'll need to retry that save. That seems pretty grisly. I would prefer that we simply made that field not required in our content type because of how it actually works. Two more thoughts before we leave content types and libraries. If we go back to our library settings, where we're actually using these content types, we can add other content types as well. This is a land and budget document, but we might also have a land and 1099 document. We might also have any other financial documents we wanted to keep here, a land and contract document, and so on. Nothing prevents me from allowing different documents. I can also connect a specific template. I might have a land and budget template, and I can connect a different template to each of these content types. Let's go back to our land and budget document content type and go to owner, and remember that we want to modify this so that it's optional. We could actually hide it and fill it in programmatically if we wished as well. The other things I can tie to a content type, a name and description. I have advanced settings for this content type, and that includes the template that's being used. Right now it's using the blank template that is a Word document, but for each content type I can assign a template to the content type. And I can assign a workflow to that specific content type. So imagine that the land and budget document opens an Excel spreadsheet that's a budget template. The land and contract document opens a smart Word document, and that has a separate workflow. There is so much that you can do with content types, and particularly if you're interested in workflows as well. Spend some time thinking about how content types help you create documents with corresponding templates and with corresponding workflow processes before you move on to workflows in the next section of this course.